And welcome back to Teach Kids. And today we are going to be learning actually about a new we're going to be learning about a new topic. We're not doing math anymore, so I'm going to be doing like 3 different videos actually on Earth science. Earth science. So Earth science, yeah. So I'm going to be doing 3 different videos. So the first one is about 3 different types of rocks and the rock cycle, how they can change into each other. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And also that's what we're going to be talking about today. And so we're going to be talking about how rocks can change into each other and come together and change into each other, go like that. How do they form? We're going to be answering all those questions, and we're also going to be talking a little bit about space rocks, no, not that much about it. We're only going to be talking a little bit about it. So yeah, so let's get started here. So basically rocks and the rock cycle. So rocks are all around us, you know that, right? Sometimes your houses are made out of rocks and everything. So what is a rock, basically? Just as a bit of a review. So a rock is basically a solid. A rock is a type of solid. It's made up of a bunch of different minerals. It's made up of different material and how it's made up of. Rocks are generally not uniform or made up of exact structures. That can be described by scientific formulas. Scientists generally classify rocks by how they were made or formed. There are 3 major types of rocks. This is what I'm talking about. So there are 3 major types of rocks: metamorphic rocks, igneous rocks, and sedimentary rocks. So how to pronounce metamorphic is morphic, like that. And how to pronounce igneous, and how to pronounce sedimentary is sedimentary. So those might be hard to pronounce, but that's how you pronounce them correctly. So basically, they're just like that. So that's just a bit of a review. So first, let's talk about a metamorphic rock. So here's a metamorphic rock, a picture of a metamorphic rock, yeah. Metamorphic rocks. Metamorphic rocks are formed by great heat and pressure. So it formed by great heat and pressure. They're generally found inside the Earth's crust, where there is enough heat and pressure to form the rock. So inside the Earth's crust is kind of like underground the Earth. Inside the Earth's crust is underground the Earth. There's lots of heat. The more deeper you go into the Earth, it gets more hotter. So there's actually and also there's that pressure. That pressure is compacting those rocks together. So they form those rocks with that heat and pressure. So you basically need heat and pressure. You need heat and pressure to form a metamorphic rock. So let's continue reading. Metamorphic rocks are often made from other types of rocks because they're actually made from other rocks. For example, shale. Shale is a type of rock. It's a sedimentary rock. It can be changed or metamorphosed. Changed or metamorphosed. Metamorphosed means it's changed into a metamorphic rock. Basically, such as slate, gneiss, like that. So slate or gneiss can be turned into a metamorphic rock, basically. So all those heat and pressure compact those rocks together, which creates one rock. There's tiny rocks, right? All those tiny different rocks come together because of that heat and pressure and form another rock called a metamorphic rock. So let's move on to igneous rocks. So basically the cycle starts from igneous rocks to sedimentary rocks to metamorphic rocks, but we'll talk about that more. Igneous rocks. Igneous rocks, yeah, there's a picture right there of igneous rocks. So yeah. So igneous rocks are formed by volcanoes. So the igneous rocks are basically formed by volcanoes. when a volcano erupts, it spews out, like it puts out hot molten rock called magma or lava. So like when it's in the volcano, it's called magma, which is like melted rock. It's like the rock is melted, so it's like magma. And when the volcano erupts and the magma comes out of the volcano, it becomes lava. Eventually, once like the lava like flows down like that mountain, like the volcano, then like after some time, eventually the magma will cool down and harden. So like it's gonna cool down and then it's gonna harden, either when it reaches Earth's surface or somewhere within the crust. So it's like somewhere near like the surface of the crust or Earth's surface, then it will like at least like cool down. This hardened magma or lava is called an igneous rock. So when it cools down and becomes hard, that's when it's like formed an igneous rock. So basically, igneous rocks are actually from volcanoes. Examples of igneous rocks include like basalt and granite. They're igneous rocks. They're different types of rocks, but they're igneous rocks. I forgot to tell the metamorphic rocks actually. So other examples of metamorphic rock include marble, anthracite, soapstone, and schist. Basically, that's schist. So basically, those are metamorphic rocks. Here are igneous rocks, basalt and granite. So let's talk about sedimentary rocks. So sedimentary rocks are formed from years and years of sediment compacting together. So so here's a sedimentary rock. So this is how like a type of sedimentary rock would look like. So basically, sedimentary rocks are formed from years and years and years and lots of years of sediment compacting together. So sediment is like that type of layer of the rock. It compacts together and becoming hard. Generally, something like a stream or river will carry lots of small pieces of rock. So if you've seen like a river or a stream, they carry like lots of pieces of tiny rocks and everything. And they have like rocks and minerals to a larger body of water. So they carry it to a larger like body of water, like an ocean or lake or something. These pieces will actually settle at the bottom of that large body of water. Pretend it's an ocean, okay? It will settle at the bottom, and after years and years, and over a long time, probably millions of years, it takes that much time, they will form into a solidy, like giant, big rock. That's what forms like the sedimentary rock. Some examples of sedimentary rocks are shale, limestone, and sandstone. So those are like different types of sedimentary rocks. You don't need to know the different types. Like you could know them, but you could just note down everything if you have like notebook or paper, pencil. So now you know the 3 different types of rocks. Let's talk about how they can turn into each other. So that's the rock cycle. So they can turn into each other. Like an igneous rock can turn into a sedimentary rock can turn into metamorphic rock, like that. It just changes like that. All about the rock cycle. So here's the rock cycle. Rocks are constantly changing. They're always changing. That nothing never stops them. Rocks are always constantly changing in what is called the rock cycle. It takes millions of years for rocks to change. It takes like long time, millions of years. Here's an example of the rock cycle describing how a rock changes from an igneous rock to sedimentary to metamorphic over time. So here's the like rock cycle. Here's an image that I actually found. So if you follow this, first, number 1, what happens is a volcano erupts, and then after that, and then it cools down and becomes igneous rock. Then after that, it turns into pieces. It breaks it down into pieces. That weathering breaks and heat breaks it down into pieces and flow into the river and go to the larger body of water. And then that larger body of water like compact together and then come together with the sediment, and then they create this sedimentary rock. And then after that, once it goes down into the Earth's crust where there's lots of heat and pressure, that heat and pressure is like turning into and then putting all those sediment and rocks together, which create the metamorphic rock. So that's what it actually tells here. So number 1, melted rock or magma is sent to the Earth's surface. It cools and forms an igneous rock. So like first, melted rock or magma is sent to the Earth's surface from the ground. So then it cools down and hardens and forms an igneous rock. Then next what happens is the weather or a river or other events or other like events like weather or river will slowly break up this rock into small pieces of sediment. So like it break it up like it says like right here, small pieces of sediment. And as the sediment builds up and hardens over years, a sedimentary rock is formed. So that's the sedimentary rock. As slowly the sediment rock will get covered with other rocks. So like that's how like all erosion and weathering will cover that sedimentary rock into all like different rocks and end up deep in the earth's crust. So like very like kind of deep underground basically. And then after that, what happens next is 5 is when the pressure and heat get high enough underground, the sedimentary rock metamorphoses or changes into a metamorphic rock and the cycle will start again. It's the endless cycle. So one thing to note is that rocks don't need to follow this specific cycle. Like it doesn't need to start with an igneous rocks. They can so like they may change from one type to another and back again in practically any order. So like a metamorphic rock might change into an igneous rock, while an igneous rock might change to a sedimentary rock, and a sedimentary rock might change to igneous rock. Rocks don't need to follow like the exact order. They just turn into whatever like they like that. So here are space rocks. So this is like kind of like preview like picture of how a space rocks look like. So there are actually some rocks that come from space called meteorites. If you've heard of meteorites, they're kind of like asteroids, but they crash into Earth kind of. They may have different elements or minerals than typical Earth like rock. So than a typical Earth rock basically. Like an Earth rock has the space rock has like different minerals or anything. Typically they're mostly made of iron, kind of more like iron or anything. So yeah, typically they're made mostly of iron. So basically space rocks are kind of like different from like earth rocks, like typical earth rocks. So like if you've known about the asteroid belt is like what surrounds, like what stops from Mars when Mars ends, like Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, and then the asteroid belt where like there's lots of asteroids and comets and everything. There's lots of asteroids. That's why it's called the asteroid belt. It just goes around like the solar system. So like the asteroid belt has the meteorite rocks. Like it has these type of rocks, but not exactly like this. Like different types of rocks. And then once you pass through the asteroid belt, then you get to Jupiter, Saturn, and Uranus and Neptune and all that stuff, and Pluto and all that. So to wrap it up, let's talk about some interesting facts about rocks. So here's one fact. The word igneous for the igneous rocks actually comes from a Latin word called ignis, which means of fire. So that you get it, like an igneous rocks is formed by volcano, right? It's like kind of fire. So like so igneous, the word igneous comes from the Latin word ignis, which is of fire. Ores are actually like rocks, like gold ore. If you're mined for gold underground, right? There's like gold ores. Same for diamonds or like any stuff like that, or coal. They have like ores kind of. It's like different ores, basically like iron ores and like that. So these actually include different types of minerals and like different minerals that have important elements such as metals like gold or silver, like I was talking about. A sedimentary rock forms layers at the bottom of oceans and lakes. So they actually have layers. How you can recognize a sedimentary rock is where like it has like kind of layers and everything. So basically that's like it. Marble is actually a metamorphic rock formed when limestone. So marble is actually a metamorphic rock. It's formed when limestone is exposed to high heat and pressure. Like that high heat and pressure turns is basically like that's when that forms the marble. But the pressure like within the earth, like the earth's crust. Layers of sedimentary rocks are called the strata. So like if you've seen like layers on those sedimentary rocks, they're called actually strata. So I think that wraps it up, and I hope you understand, and I hope you enjoyed, and thank you for watching, And I'll see you next time. So yeah, thank you for watching.